Welcome to BL Stories, where romance, drama, and unforgettable boys' love come to life. Love knows no limits, and the best stories aren't always straight. Subscribe now and join our growing BL-loving family. Chapter 42. The offer still stands, Nico said as he pulled up to the curb in front of my house. You know you're always welcome to stay at my place. I smiled, glancing at him. My breath caught slightly when he reached out and brushed his fingers against my cheek, gentle, reassuring. I know, I replied softly, sighing. But it's okay. I'm sure Mom's worried about me. I did kind of leave without telling them where I was going. A pang of guilt tightened in my chest, and my smile faltered. Nico murmured, pressing a light kiss on my forehead before lowering his hand. The warmth faded too quickly, leaving me feeling the sudden emptiness where his touch had been. I gathered myself and stepped out of the car. Leaning down toward the open passenger window, I tried to smile. If anything happens, just keep your door unlocked, okay? Nico's expression brightened slightly. His lips twitched into a faint grin as he met my eyes. He reached for my hand, holding it for a long, quiet moment as if deciding what to say. Then, instead of teasing me like he usually would, he simply lifted my hand and pressed a tender kiss to my palm before finally driving away. I stood there long after his car disappeared around the corner, watching until the sound of his engine faded. The world felt still again. Taking a deep breath, I tiptoed back home. The moment I stepped inside, a chill brushed against my ankles. Even though it was mid-afternoon, the house was dark, all the blinds drawn, shadows stretching across the walls. It felt strange. Someone was always the first to open the blinds in the morning to let in the sunlight. Swallowing hard, I slipped off my shoes and quietly moved through the living room. I started pulling open the blinds, one by one, hoping to let some light in. But when I opened the first one, I froze. Several large cardboard boxes were stacked neatly against the far wall. Some were sealed and labeled in thick black marker. Others were half open, with neatly folded men's clothes visible inside. Dad's clothes. My stomach tightened. I stepped closer and lifted one of the open lids, my hands trembling slightly. Inside were polo shirts, dress pants, old coats, familiar pieces of him. As I went through the box, memories began to surface like waves. A polo shirt with a faint brown stain, the one from our trip to Disneyland when Jamie, upset about her hot dog, had thrown it straight onto Dad's shirt. A pair of dress pants with a patch of mismatched thread, Mom had sewn it hurriedly before a relative's wedding. And then a dark gray coat, his newest one. It had been a Christmas gift last year. He wore it once before leaving for a business trip overseas. When he came back, it was already too warm to wear it again, so it was stored away. And now, it was packed up again. This time, in a box without a label. My eyes stung, tears blurring my vision. I wiped them away quickly with my sleeve, but the ache in my chest only deepened. A mix of anger, grief, and helplessness churned inside me as I slammed the box shut. Wesley! I turned at the sound of my mother's voice. She stood on the staircase, a laundry basket in her arms. When she saw me, her eyes softened immediately. The basket hit the floor as she crossed the room and pulled me into her arms. Oh, honey, she whispered, her voice trembling. I was so worried about you. I called everyone I could think of. Thank goodness Benny told me you were with him. Why, yeah, I mumbled, stiff in her embrace. After a moment, I pulled away, staring at my bare feet as she tried to compose herself. It's okay, you're home now, she said, forcing a small laugh. I don't have work tonight, so how about dinner out? You, me, and Jamie. Maybe that Thai place you like? Or we can try the new Japanese restaurant that just opened around the corner. Are we not going to talk about it? I asked quietly. Her smile froze. She blinked, her expression tightening as her hands fidgeted. Talk about what? She asked softly, her eyes darting around the room. The boxes, I said, pointing toward the stack by the wall. And the reason they're here. The thing you and Jamie didn't tell me. Her lips parted, but no words came. Over the last day, through all the crying, all the confusion, my sadness had changed. It had hardened into something sharper. I wasn't just hurt by what Dad did. I was hurt because they didn't tell me. Because they didn't trust me with the truth. They said they wanted to protect me, but what they didn't realize was that hiding it only made it worse. The betrayal wasn't just Dad's, it was theirs too. And now, even standing in front of me, Mom was still trying to pretend everything was fine. Maybe a year ago, I would have let her. I would have chosen the lie over the pain. But not anymore. Nico's voice echoed in my mind, that one word he always said, honest. It used to scare me, but now it felt freeing. Why didn't you tell me about Dad? I asked, my tone calm but firm. Mom's face paled. She looked fragile, tired, as if the truth had been sitting on her shoulders for too long. You were always so close to your father, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't want to disappoint you. Her words cut deep. How long were you going to wait? I asked quietly. Were you ever going to tell me? Did you really think I wouldn't find out? My voice cracked. Did you think it would hurt less this way? Wesley, I only did this to protect you. But you didn't, I said, my voice trembling as I tried to swallow the sob rising in my throat. There's nothing you could have done to make what Dad did any less painful, but that wasn't your fault. He's the one who broke this family apart, not you. But not telling me, that made it worse. It made me believe everything was fine, made me hope for things that were never going to happen. Lies told to protect someone are still lies, and they always end up hurting. Just like how I lied to Sophia. Wesley, I'm sore, Mom began, her voice cracking through her tears. But before she could finish, the front door opened. Jamie stepped inside, her expression tight and unreadable as she tossed her satchel and laptop onto the couch. She must have just come back from her afternoon classes. Her gaze moved between the two of us, Mom's tear-streaked face and my clenched fists, before she marched toward us, her footsteps heavy. What are you doing, Wes? She asked sharply, her tone full of accusation. Jamie, calm down, Mom said softly, reaching for her shoulder, but Jamie shook her off and pointed a finger at me. Wes, why are you acting like this after disappearing yesterday? Do you know how worried Mom was? She even missed work today because of you. And you come home acting like this? Acting like what exactly? I snapped, my voice rising before I could stop it. Am I supposed to pretend everything's fine? Smile and laugh when everything's falling apart? Like this, Jamie said, frowning as if she barely recognized me. You've been different lately. Running off all the time, coming home late, not saying where you've been. And now you're lashing out. That's not you, Wes. I gave a short, bitter laugh. At least I'm not pretending like you. You see what you want to see and ignore everything else. You act like everything's okay even when it's clearly not. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not like you. Jamie, Wes, that's enough, Mom said firmly. Jamie crossed her arms, letting out a huff before muttering something under her breath. I'm taking a shower, she said coldly, throwing me one last look before heading upstairs. Once she was gone, Mom placed a gentle hand on my arm, her eyes full of quiet apology. Don't take what your sister said to heart, she murmured. She hasn't handled everything with your dad very well. Not even now. I know, I said quietly, nodding. But the room suddenly felt smaller, darker. The boxes, the silence, the weight of unspoken words. It was suffocating. I think I need some time alone, I mumbled, stepping away from her. Before she could respond, I headed upstairs, closing my bedroom door behind me. I locked it and fell face first onto my bed, not bothering to change out of my uniform. For a moment, I just lay there, staring blankly at the ceiling until I finally pulled out my phone. I didn't have to think twice about who to call. The moment I pressed the button, the line clicked and his voice filled my ear. Wes. Nico's tone was full of concern. What's wrong? A sigh escaped me as I pulled the blanket over my head. Everything, I whispered. The next day, my thoughts were still a blur. I stared blankly at the test sheet on my desk as the classroom clock ticked loudly above me. My pen moved sluggishly, if at all. Everyone else's hands flew across their papers while mine barely made a mark. Studying hadn't been a priority lately, not with everything that had been happening. The mock exams were just another reminder of how lost I'd become. Before I knew it, the shrill sound of the timer rang out. Groans filled the room as Miss Levinson began collecting papers down the rows. When she reached my desk, she paused, peering over my shoulder. Her expression softened as she lowered her glasses. "Wesley," she said kindly, "don't forget to put your name on your paper." I blinked, realizing I hadn't even done that. My heart sank. Quickly scribbling my name, I handed the paper to her with an apologetic smile. "Sorry," I murmured. "Are you all right, Wesley?" she asked gently, her brow creased. "I'm fine," I said automatically, forcing a weak smile that fooled neither of us. Miss Levinson gave a small nod, though the concern in her eyes lingered. "My office is always open if you need to talk," she reminded me before gathering the stack of papers into her arms. "Thank you, Miss Levinson," I said sincerely. After she left, I moved slowly down the hall toward my locker. I could feel eyes on me, whispers following in my wake. And then I saw her. Sophia. She was coming from the opposite direction. When our eyes met, her expression shifted, a mixture of anger and something else I couldn't name. I'd seen her look at me in countless ways before, happy, affectionate, heartbroken, even furious, but this was different. It was cold. Her brown eyes glimmered with something sharp, and her lips curled slightly as if she was holding back words she didn't want to say. My stomach turned. Without a word, she turned away, her hair sweeping over her shoulder as she disappeared down the hall. The air felt heavy after that. My pulse was unsteady, my palms damp. Trying to shake it off, I made my way to the cafeteria. As soon as I walked in, the noise seemed to dim. Conversations quieted, eyes shifted toward me. "Is that him?" someone whispered, just loud enough for me to hear. "Yeah, that's definitely him," another voice murmured. "The picture's a little blurry, but it's him for sure." My heart dropped. The whispers grew louder. "I can't believe it. Him and you know who? That's unbelievable," someone else said with a half laugh that sounded more cruel than amused. "Him and Nico? Seriously?" Another voice sneered. I froze where I stood, the cafeteria spinning around me. The world felt suddenly too bright, too loud, and yet completely silent. Chapter 43. With 100 pairs of eyes on me, the cafeteria felt smaller and smaller with every passing second. Voices blurred together, faces merged into a haze as I took a shaky step forward. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Each movement felt heavier than the last, my body sluggish, as though the air itself had thickened around me. My shoulder brushed against people towering over me, their stares sharp and cutting. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, mocking, curious, cruel. I could barely breathe, the sound in my ears fading into a dull ring. They know. They all know. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Not now. Not this way. It was supposed to be on my terms, on mine and Nico's. But someone had decided that my privacy didn't matter. They didn't care what it would cost us. My chest tightened as I pushed toward the exit, the whispering growing louder. Then something snagged my ankle, sending me crashing to the floor. Pain shot up my knees and wrists as I landed hard. Tears stung my eyes as I looked up. A pair of polished black shoes stopped in front of me. "Oh, oops," a voice said mockingly. "Didn't see you there." "Alyssa." Her smile was painted on, bright and cruel. She held her phone up like a trophy while one of her friends snickered beside her. With a flick of her hair, she leaned down and grabbed a handful of my hair, jerking my head up so I had no choice but to meet her cold gaze. "Let's see that face," she said sharply before letting go, my scalp burning. Then she turned her phone toward me. I froze. The screen showed a photo, grainy but clear enough. Two people in a booth, eyes closed, sharing a kiss. One of them was Nico. The other two. My breath caught in my throat. "Alyssa, She tilted her head, pretending to look surprised. "I always wondered about you," she said, voice dripping with disdain. "Guess now everyone knows the truth." The laughter around us swelled, echoing off the cafeteria walls. I tried to speak, but my throat tightened until I could barely breathe. I started, but my voice cracked. "I didn't do anything wrong." A chorus of mocking chuckles followed. Someone muttered something cruel under their breath, and it was like the walls closed in on me. "I can't," I whispered, my voice trembling. My eyes burned with tears I could no longer hold back. I tried to move, but the crowd pressed in around me. "Please, let me go." Before Alyssa could respond, a pair of hands gripped my shoulders and pulled me through the crowd. "Come on," a familiar voice said firmly. "Benny," I breathed, relief flooding through me. His expression was fierce, but his hands shook slightly as he helped me toward the door. "I know," he said quickly. "Let's just get out of here." As we neared the exit, Alyssa's voice cut through the chatter. "Running away already?" she sneered. Before I could turn, someone grabbed the back of Benny's shirt, but then a loud thud filled the air. Gasps erupted around us. Daniel, one of Alyssa's friends, was on the floor, clutching his nose as blood trickled down. And standing between us and the crowd, Nico. His jaw was tight, his right fist clenched so hard his knuckles turned white. His other arm stretched protectively in front of me, a silent barrier between me and the chaos. "Nico," I whispered, my voice breaking. When his eyes met mine, the anger in them softened into something else: fear, worry, love. He took a slow step toward me, his hand reaching out, fingertips brushing the tears from my cheek. I wanted to say something, anything, but all I could do was step forward and bury myself in his arms. The cafeteria went silent. The whispers stopped. The photo on everyone's phone no longer mattered, because what they saw now was real. Nico held me tightly, shielding me from the world. For a moment, everything else disappeared: the laughter, the stares, the fear. But it wasn't over. Behind us, Daniel pushed himself up, his face twisted with anger. "You think this proves something?" he said bitterly, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. "Guess you're both the same after all." Nico's body tensed again, his eyes flashing dangerously. Before I could stop him, he stepped forward, grabbing Daniel by the collar and pulling him up to his feet. "What did you say?" Nico's voice was low, controlled, but it carried weight. Daniel smirked. "You heard me." And then everything happened too fast. Nico's fist swung, Daniel blocked, and the two crashed to the ground in a blur of motion. "Nico!" I shouted, panic surging through me. Daniel pinned him down, throwing punches. "Stop!" I cried, rushing forward. My trembling hands grabbed Daniel's arm, desperate to stop the fight. "Please, stop hurting him." The noise around us blurred again, the crowd's gasps and murmurs fading. All I could see was Nico, fighting, protecting, breaking. And in that moment, even through the chaos, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't how I wanted the truth to come out. But there was no taking it back now. "Wes, get back!" Nico shouted, forcing Daniel's grip away from his throat. Daniel's head snapped toward me, irritation flashing across his face. Without warning, he released Nico and grabbed me by the front of my shirt, shoving me hard onto the ground. The air was knocked out of my lungs as my back hit the cold floor, the ceiling spinning above me. "You're done for!" Nico's voice roared, filled with fury and desperation. Through the blur of pain, I lifted my head and saw him move. In one swift motion, Nico pushed Daniel off and reversed their positions, landing on top. His fists began to swing, fueled by anger and adrenaline. Each strike hit its mark, Daniel struggling to defend himself as the room filled with shocked gasps. "Nico, stop!" I cried, crawling toward him. Wrapping my arms tightly around his trembling shoulders, I buried my face against him. "Please, stop, it's over." My voice broke and slowly his fists stilled. His bruised knuckles dropped to his sides, his chest heaving with uneven breaths. Beneath my touch, I could feel the tension in his body, the storm of emotion that refused to calm. "Wes," he said. Nico began, but his words were drowned out by the sudden murmurs spreading across the room. The crowd was parting. Teachers in suits rushed in, their voices cutting through the chaos. "What is going on here?" Principal Meyer's deep voice bellowed, his face red and damp with sweat. His sharp eyes landed on Nico standing over a bloody Daniel, and his expression twisted in fury. "Nicholas Beckett," he thundered, pointing toward him. My office. Now. A few teachers hurried to separate the two boys. Others helped Daniel to his feet and guided him toward the nurse's office. Nico stood slowly, his lips split, his cheek swelling. He said nothing, his expression unreadable. Before following the teachers, he turned to me, his blue eyes filled with worry and regret. And you, Principal Myers said sharply, his gaze snapping to me. You're coming with us too. Later that day, I sat outside the principal's office, my leg bouncing nervously. I chewed on what was left of my fingernails, listening to the muffled voices inside. I couldn't make out much, just a few harsh words. Troublemaker, last chance, failure. But my thoughts weren't about me, they were all about Nico. Everyone knew his record. Late assignments, skipped classes, the occasional fight. But I also knew the side of him no one else saw. The gentle, patient version of Nico who listened to my worries, who smiled quietly when I teased him, who made me feel safe. And now he might lose everything because of me. My heart pounded in my chest. It's because of you. The thought echoed like thunder. Suddenly, the office door slammed open. Where is he? A familiar voice demanded. I looked up to see my mother rushing in, her brown hair slipping from the bun she usually wore for work. Her eyes were wide with worry, scanning the room until they landed on me. Wesley, she gasped, hurrying over. Gripping my arms, she shook me lightly, her voice cracking. What were you thinking? You've never gotten into trouble before. How could you be involved in a fight? Her words pierced deeper than I expected. Before I could respond, the office door opened again. Nico stepped out. His face was bruised, small bandages scattered across his skin. He looked exhausted but calm. Our eyes met briefly, and though he didn't speak, I could feel the weight of everything he wanted to say. The principal appeared behind him, calling my name. Wesley, come in and explain yourself, my mother said, pushing me forward gently. As we passed Nico, I brushed my fingers across his forearm, giving a small squeeze. He gave a faint, reassuring smile before I was ushered into the room. Principal Myers sat behind his large desk, glasses perched at the edge of his nose. Miss Levinson, one of my teachers, sat nearby, concern written all over her face. Wesley. Mrs. Dillon, the principal began formally. It's Miss Waits, actually, my mother corrected automatically. And before we begin, I just want to say, whatever happened today, I'm sure there's a reason behind it. She looked at me meaningfully, silently urging me to explain. Before I could open my mouth, the principal raised his hand. Mr. Beckett has already given his account, he said. According to him, you were only trying to stop the fight. Is that correct? My mother's expression softened instantly. Oh, thank goodness, she sighed, relief washing over her face. But my heart sank. Nico had lied. He was protecting me, and though his lie was kind, it left a bitter taste in my mouth. After everything he'd ever told me about honesty, he'd taken the blame for something that wasn't entirely his fault. That's not true, I blurted, standing up. The principal's eyes narrowed. Care to explain, Wesley? It was my fault, I admitted, my voice trembling. Daniel said things, hurtful things, about me, and Nico just tried to defend me. He didn't start the fight. He was only trying to help. The room went quiet. Did Daniel throw the first punch? Principal Myers asked firmly. I hesitated. The truth stung. No, he didn't. The principal nodded slowly. And yet, Mr. Beckett is the one with a history of fights. Now he's left another student with a broken nose and serious bruising. I swallowed hard. But Nico's hurt too. Yes, Myers said curtly, minor injuries. But he's been warned before. This is the final incident. I'm afraid, Wesley, that Mr. Beckett has been expelled from the school. The words hit me like a physical blow. Expelled? Images of Nico flashed in my mind. Our laughter in the car, quiet talks after class, his soft smile when he thought no one was looking. All gone. Because of me. My body felt weightless, sinking into the chair. My mother reached over, pressing a hand on my knee. Principal Myers, she said gently, if that boy is expelled, what about Wesley? Sighing, Myers glanced at Miss Levinson. She adjusted her glasses and spoke kindly. Wesley is an excellent student. Responsible, hardworking. This incident doesn't define him. My mother exhaled in relief. Thank you. Things have been difficult at home lately, and he's been under a lot of pressure. The principal nodded. We understand. Still, actions have consequences. Given that this is his first offense, Wesley will receive a 1-week suspension. What? I blurted softly. I get a suspension, and Nico loses everything? My mother frowned. A suspension seems a bit much, doesn't it? He'll fall behind. He'll receive all necessary coursework, Miss Levinson assured. It'll give him time to refocus and come back stronger. My mother hesitated, then nodded. If that's what you think is best. Principal Myers stood and opened the door. That's all for now. You're both free to go. I followed my mother silently to the car. The drive home was quiet, heavy with unspoken words. When we arrived, she turned to me, her eyes glistening. Wesley, she whispered, her voice breaking, what's happening to you? I didn't have an answer. The only word echoing in my mind was the truth I couldn't say aloud. Everything. Chapter 44. It's because of that boy, isn't it? Mum said, pacing across the foyer with her hands knotted tightly together. He's not the one Jamie told me about, is he? The one from the bowling alley? She said he had tattoos, and that awful lip ring. It must be him. Is he the reason you've been acting up lately? Wes, why are you spending time with someone like that? For a moment, Sophia's words echoed in my head. There's no way you could be friends with someone like that. Everyone seemed to say the same thing about him, about Nico. They didn't really know who he was. They never saw beyond the surface, never noticed how every seemingly reckless action had a reason. They didn't know about the nights he worked late to help his family, or the mornings he spent fixing cars before school. They didn't see how the boy covered in tattoos was the same one who offered quiet comfort when no one else did. Behind every sharp word or defensive stance was someone kind, someone gentle, someone who made me feel safe. But they never saw that. They only saw his image, never his heart. The guilt churned inside me, tightening my chest until I could barely breathe. I'd frozen up in Principal Myers' office, unable to defend Nico, the same boy who had defended me again and again. He'd given me so much, and all I'd given him in return was trouble. An expulsion. A damaged reputation. Clutching my guilt, I looked at Mum, my voice trembling but firm. Nico isn't like that, m. Don't talk about him like that when you don't even know him. She stepped back in surprise, caught off guard by the sharpness in my tone. Her shock quickly turned into hurt, her eyes filling with tears. Wesley, you can't speak to me like that, she whispered, gripping my arm tightly. This isn't like you. Is he bullying you? Pressuring you into something? Wes, you can tell me. I can see he's a bad influence. Just look at Hi. You can see he's a bad influence? I interrupted, bitterness spilling from my lips before I could stop it. Sorry, Mum, but considering your choices with men in the past, I don't think I can trust what you see. Her body stiffened. I didn't stay long enough to see her face, but I knew I'd hurt her deeply. The guilt was instant, but I couldn't stop. I turned and ran upstairs, slamming my bedroom door behind me. Collapsing onto my bed, I buried my face in my arms. The words I'd thrown at her should have made me feel lighter, but instead they crushed me. I didn't need to see her tears to know what I'd done. My chest tightened as quiet sobs escaped into the fabric of my blanket. I'd stayed silent when I should have defended Nico, but when it came to Mum, the person who loved me most, I'd said the cruelest thing I could think of. Why can't I ever do anything right? I hit the crown of my head with my fist, whispering shakily, "What's wrong with you, Wes? Why you like this?" It took almost an hour before I could move again. My stomach growled, empty and aching, but I didn't want to leave my room. I pulled on a hoodie and lay back down, even though the clock hadn't reached 4 in the afternoon yet. Hiding under the blanket, I finally reached for my phone. 28 messages. 2 missed calls. Scrolling through, I saw Benny's name over and over. Benny, 2:44 p.m. Wes, are you okay? Please tell me you're okay. Benny, 2:45 p.m. When you get out of Myers's office, call me. You're not suspended, right? If you are, I'm skipping class with you. Benny, 2:46 p.m. I found out what happened to Daniel. Broken nose. Serves him right. He's getting suspended. Benny, 2:59 p.m. Hey, I saw your mom drive in. She looked mad, but also kinda worried. I'm freaking out here, dude. Message me when you can. Benny, 3:03 p.m. I saw Nico leave. He didn't look good. Some old lady came and scolded him. Message me, okay? I could practically picture Benny's scrunched up expression as he frantically typed, his worry hidden behind his humor. Despite everything, it made me smile a little. Wes, 3:47 p.m. Sorry, I'm okay. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Almost immediately, the typing dots appeared. Benny, 3:47 p.m. Oh, thank goodness. I was about to drive over, and you know I can't drive. Will I see you at school tomorrow? I just think. I quickly told him about my suspension. His replies came fast, strings of frustrated messages, before he finally said his mom was calling him to clean his room. He promised to text again later. Once the chat ended, I stared at my screen for a moment, then opened Nico's contact. My thumb hovered before pressing call. The phone rang. Once, twice, no answer. A recorded voice spoke. You've reached the voicemail of Nico. Please leave a message after the tone. Beep. Silence. I waited a few seconds before hanging up, my throat tight. I rubbed my tired eyes with my sleeve, whispering into the quiet room, please, just call me back. My phone stayed still, no messages, no sound. I sat up, the blanket slipping off my shoulders. The mirror across the room reflected a face I barely recognized, pale, red-eyed, and tired. I quickly grabbed a spare blanket from the chair and draped it over the mirror. I didn't want to see myself anymore. Voices drifted faintly from outside my room. Mom, what are you doing? Jamie asked, her voice muffled through the door. I'm bringing him something to eat, Mom answered softly. Then came 2 light knocks on my door, followed by her hesitant voice. Wesley, can we talk? I stayed still, my breath caught somewhere between guilt and longing. Wesley, I was worried you might be hungry. I'll leave you some food outside, okay? I have to go to work now. I was only allowed to come in late. We need to talk tomorrow, all right, honey? I love you. There was a soft sound of a tray being lowered onto the wooden floor, followed by fading footsteps. When silence finally returned, I slowly opened my door. Sitting at my feet was a sandwich, neatly cut into 4 pieces, and a glass of juice beside it. Covering my mouth to stifle a sob, I pulled the tray in and quietly shut the door again before collapsing to my knees. I'm sorry, I whispered against the door, tears pooling at my chin before falling onto the tray. What's wrong with you? Why can't you do anything right? With trembling hands, I ate the sandwich on the floor, tears spilling freely. Each bite felt heavier than the last, guilt pressing into my chest until I could barely breathe. When I finished the last piece and drained the juice, my phone rang loudly from my bed. Startled, I stumbled up and fumbled with the screen. Hello. Wes, I'm sorry I missed your call, Nico said quickly, his voice slightly breathless. Even through the phone, that familiar deep tone with its rough edges made my heart ache. Belle was giving me a hard time and, wait, Wes, are you crying? A small hiccup escaped me before I could stop it. Hey, don't cry, Nico pleaded softly. Please. I'm sorry, I said between uneven breaths. I'm so sorry. It's my fault that you got expelled. Nico, what do we do? Everyone knows, and you're the one who got hurt even though it wasn't your fault. You were just protecting me and now this happened. I don't know what to do. I can't even stop crying like you want me to. Nico, what's wrong with me? For a moment, there was only silence on the other end. Then I heard a deep sigh, followed by the sound of him clearing his throat. Wes, he said quietly, his voice low and steady. There's nothing wrong with you. You can't say that, I whispered back, my voice breaking. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have fought Daniel. I couldn't even stand up for you in front of Principal Myers. Nico, I just stood there. I heard him call you useless, but he should have been saying that about me. Nico let out a rough exhale. You know, Wes, you're really starting to frustrate me. I fell silent. Hey, Nico continued after a pause, his tone softening. Don't get me wrong. Just listen to me, okay? I don't know where you got this idea that everything's your fault, but knowing you, I'm not that surprised. A small, choked sound escaped my throat, and Nico let out a light laugh. Good, at least you're listening, he said, and I could almost hear the smile in his voice. Wes, none of this is your fault. Sure, I confronted Daniel because he said some really nasty things about you, but that's on him, not you. Don't go blaming yourself for his bad choices. But what you told Principal Myers about me not being involved, that wasn't true, I said quietly. I think I said you were trying to stop the fight, Nico replied with a short laugh. Which, by the way, was really brave of you. Not that I liked seeing you grab Daniel's arm or putting yourself in danger again, but still, it meant a lot. He paused, then groaned softly. Actually, no, I really hated that part. You should take a shower, though, you probably still have some blood on you. Despite myself, I let out a shaky laugh. Nico, this is serious. I am being serious, he replied, his voice teasing. It's probably in your hair. Nico, I probably have your blood in my hair, I said with a small frown. Are you okay? I should have asked earlier. I'm sorry, really. I'm fine, Nico said quickly, as if worried I'd start crying again. Honestly, Belle's punch hurt more than Daniel's. I heard about that, I said. Benny told me. Was she mad? She was, Nico admitted with a chuckle. But she got over it after she hit me. Actually, she might have been a little proud when I told her why I got in trouble. Especially when I mentioned that Daniel looked worse. Nico, you can't expect me to believe she was fine with you getting expelled, I said, half exasperated, half amused. Getting expelled isn't fine. Maybe not for you, he said thoughtfully, but for me, it's not the end of the world. Wes, you're smart, really smart. Maybe not about everything, he added, and I could hear the grin in his voice, but you've got a lot going for you. Everyone knows it. You've got potential, Wes. I barely show up to class. Sure, getting expelled stings, but I'll figure it out. I blinked. Wait, did you just call me both smart and not smart in the same sentence? Nico burst into laughter, the sound filling my ear like a wave of warmth. That's what you took from all that? Really, Wes? I think you just proved my point. Despite everything, the tears, the guilt, the chaos, he still found a way to make me laugh. My shoulders felt lighter for the first time all day. I hate you, I said, a small smile forming despite the exhaustion. Sure, you do, Nico said softly, his tone affectionate. I love you too. And just for a moment, for a brief, fleeting second, it felt like everything might be okay again. Just maybe. Chapter 45. A few days had passed since my suspension. While the storm had quieted, the aftermath it left behind was still raw. During the weekend, Jamie had been like a watchdog, making sure I didn't step out of the house. I wasn't just suspended, I was also grounded. Since Nico was using his newfound free time to work extra shifts without worrying about me, I tried to focus on studying ahead for the next week. But by Monday, whatever motivation I had burned out completely. Even though spring had officially begun, the days were still cold. Refusing to turn on the heater, it just didn't feel right during spring. I sat wrapped in my blanket, trying to read my English literature book. The small black words blurred together as my mind drifted elsewhere. Frustrated, I let out a groan and tossed the book across the room. It hit the edge of my desk before flopping onto the floor. Grabbing my phone, I scrolled through Benny's messages. He'd been texting every 10 minutes, complaining about how boring school was and joking that he might start a fight just to get suspended and join me. It was meant as a joke, but still, the thought made me smile. Lying back on my bed, I aimlessly scrolled through my phone. It was still early, and I guess Nico was probably sleeping in since he worked a late shift at the bar last night. My heart softened when I saw his message from the early hours of the morning. Nico Beckett, 2:57 a.m. I'm home, but good night. Love you. A smile tugged at my lips as I gently brushed my finger across the words, as if I could somehow feel him through the screen. I started typing a reply, but before I could hit send, there was a sharp knock on my door. Knock, 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 knock. Wes, we need to talk. Jamie's voice was firm, even through the wood. My heart sank. I hadn't exactly been eager to face anyone in my family since everything happened. Luckily, Mom's long shifts meant she spent most of her time resting when she was home. And Jamie usually worked weekends, so I could avoid her easily. But today was Monday, and she didn't have any morning classes. If she was awake this early, it had to be serious. When I didn't answer, her knocking grew louder. Wes, come on. We need to talk. I'll wait for you in the living room. Her footsteps faded down the stairs, leaving me in uneasy silence. I took a shaky breath, threw on a jumper, and grabbed my phone, somehow hoping the thick fabric could protect me from whatever was coming. The house felt colder than usual as I made my way down. The blinds were mostly closed, except one in the living room, where Jamie sat in an armchair near the window. Morning sunlight turned her brown hair a soft auburn, but her face was tense. When she noticed me, she motioned for me to sit across from her. Wes, what's going on with you? She asked immediately, leaning forward with sharp eyes. What do you mean? I asked softly, fidgeting with the sleeve of my hoodie. Don't play dumb, Jamie said, throwing her hands up. You've been acting so different lately. You sneak out at night, you got into a fight at school. Wes, you were suspended. You used to worry about missing a single class, and now this. Her voice grew louder, her frustration boiling over. I shrank into the couch, wishing I could disappear. And then there's the way you talk to us, Jamie continued, pointing at me. Mom told me what you said to her the other day, about her judgment. That was cruel, Wes. You know how much she's been through, and you still said it. You're not acting like yourself anymore. Is this about the divorce? Is that why you're lashing out? The old you. Her words echoed in my head. Who even was that version of me anymore? The Wesley who hid behind politeness, too scared to be himself. The one who never took risks, who played it safe and quiet. The one who never met Nico Beckett. Wesley, are you even listening? Jamie snapped her fingers in front of me, breaking my thoughts. Her patience was wearing thin. I'm listening, I muttered, my throat tight. Then answer me. Why did you say that to Mom? I didn't mean to, I said, regret flooding my chest. I was angry. I wasn't thinking. She said some things about Nico and... Nico, Jamie repeated, his name like a warning. He's the one from the bowling alley, isn't he? Wes, I told you to stay away from him. He's nothing but trouble. Of course I didn't listen to you. I snapped before I could stop myself. Jamie froze mid-sentence. Why would I listen to you when you don't even know him? Wes, he got into another fight. He hurt someone badly. Every time he's around, someone gets hurt, Jamie said, glaring. What else am I supposed to think? Nico's not like that. I insisted, shaking my head. He doesn't just fight for no reason. Then tell me, she challenged, her voice hard. Why does he do it? I hesitated, my throat tightening. Jamie's skeptical stare made it harder to speak, like the words were trapped inside me again. Not this time. Say it was. He started the fight because of me, I said finally, my fingers trembling. What? Jamie blinked in surprise. What do you mean? I mean exactly that, I said, my voice cracking. Those guys, Daniel and his friends, they were saying awful things about me. Nico stepped in because of that. But no one believed me. Not the principal, not even Mom. Everyone blamed him. Jamie's expression shifted from anger to confusion, and then concern. Her hands clasped tightly together. Wes, what were they saying? I swallowed hard. Alyssa and Daniel. My voice faltered, my heart pounding in my ears. Say it. They were calling me. My words trailed off as I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. I wanted to say it. I needed to. But even now, the truth stuck in my throat like glass. The word trembled as it left my lips, barely a whisper, yet it seemed to echo across the room. When the sound faded into the carpet, Jamie remained completely silent. Outside, life went on. Cars honking, dogs barking, the neighbor's door creaking open, the faint rustle of trees. But inside this room, there was only the sound of my heartbeat. When I finally looked up, Jamie was staring right at me. Her brown eyes, the same shade as mine, were wide and unblinking, as though she could see right through me. Her mouth hung open, but no words came out. For a moment, she just stood there, frozen in disbelief. Then, all at once, she shot up from her chair and rushed toward me. Her hands gripped my shoulders tightly, pulling me up from where I sat. My legs wobbled beneath me. "Wes, you were being bullied?" she demanded, shaking me slightly. "Why didn't you tell us? We could have gone to your principal. We could have helped you." "How could I?" I blurted, brushing her hands away. With everything happening, with Dad and everything else, when was I supposed to say something? Everyone already had so much to deal with. Jamie froze. Guilt clouded her face as her hands dropped to her sides. She folded her arms over herself, shivering as though my words had chilled the air between us. "Wes, you didn't think you could tell us?" she asked softly. "You know you can tell me anything. You always used to." A sad laugh escaped me. "Jamie, if I told you that Nico only got into that fight because of what they said to me, would you have believed me?" I asked, trying to smile but failing. "Of course Would you really?" I interrupted. "You and Mom both think he's a bad influence. Even when I tried to explain, you just said I was acting out. You said something was wrong with me." My throat tightened, my eyes stinging. "How could I tell you anything when, every time I do, it just sounds like I'm the problem?" Jamie's eyes grew glossy with tears, a rare sight. She wiped them away quickly with her sleeve and took a trembling breath. "Wes, we didn't mean it like that," she said softly. "There's nothing wrong with you. We were just worried. You've always been gentle, kind, not like me." She let out a shaky chuckle, brushing at her red eyes again. "A bad crowd, huh?" I muttered, frowning. "Jamie." No, I said that wrong," she cut in quickly, waving her hands in apology before sinking back onto the couch. Running a hand through her hair, she let out a long sigh. "I guess I haven't been the best sister lately, have I?" "Kind of," I admitted with a faint smile. "But I haven't been the best brother either, so guess we're even." Jamie smiled at that, a small glimmer of warmth returning. "Maybe, but I still owe you. So, if I promise to listen, really listen, would that help?" I nodded, and she exhaled, leaning forward. "Then tell me what really happened with the fight." I rubbed my temples, thinking back. Well, Alyssa and Daniel were teasing me, calling me names. Benny tried to stop them, but you know Benny, he's not exactly the confrontational type. Jamie snorted quietly but didn't interrupt. "Daniel started getting aggressive," I continued, "and Nico stepped in before things got worse." I paused, remembering how Nico had stood between me and them, shielding me without hesitation. Jamie frowned. "But why would he do that? I mean, I know you care about him, but are you two close friends?" The question hit me like a jolt. Even after everything I'd said, she still hadn't put the pieces together. She didn't realize that the insult they threw at me wasn't random, it was specific. Jamie nudged my shoulder gently. "You can tell me." I took a deep breath. My heart pounded, my palms sweaty. This was my choice, to stay silent or to finally speak the truth. "He's my friend," I began carefully, "but he's also my boyfriend." Jamie's breath caught. Her eyes went wide, mouth opening and closing without sound. Boyfriend, she repeated, her hand flying to her mouth. I nodded, the words spilling out now that the first had been said. "Yes, I know it's hard to believe, it was for me too, but it's real. I love him, Jamie. That's why it hurt so much when you and Mom said those things about him." "Wes," Jamie said, her tone suddenly serious. I froze. "Why yeah?" She took my hand gently. "You can't tell Mom. At least, not yet." Her words hit me harder than I expected. What? Does that mean she won't accept me? Do you not accept me? Panic swelled in my chest, my throat closing as tears welled up again. Jamie pulled me into a tight embrace before I could break down. "Wes, listen to me," she said firmly. "I don't care who you love. You're still my little brother. That's never going to change. She pressed her hand against my back, her voice softening. But Mom, what about her? I whispered, pulling back. She's never had a problem with people like me. So why can't I tell her? Jamie hesitated. Wes, it's just complicated. It's better not to. Why not? I cried. Why can't I tell my own mother who I am? Then came a sound, a soft thud. Both our heads turned. From the doorway connecting the hallway to the living room, a grocery bag had fallen, its contents spilling across the floor. And standing there, frozen, was Mom. Her hands covered her mouth, eyes wide. A dozen emotions flickered across her face. Disbelief, fear, confusion. Jamie cursed under her breath and quickly stood, rushing toward her. Mom, I started, stepping forward, but she instinctively stepped back, shaking her head. No, she whispered, taking another step away. Jamie reached out gently. Mom, please don't. But Mom's voice broke through the silence, trembling and low. Wes isn't like your father. Chapter 46. The ceiling fan spun lazily above me, its rhythmic hum blending with the faint glow of moonlight filtering through the curtains. Nico's house was quiet, peaceful, almost too peaceful, except for the soft sound of his breathing beside me. Everything within these four walls was calm, but inside me, a storm raged. My mind wouldn't stop replaying what had happened earlier. I shook my head as if I could physically scatter the thoughts away. Turning to look at Nico, I felt my fingers twitch with the urge to hold him, to wrap my arms around his back and lose myself in his warmth. But Nico was fast asleep, his chest rising and falling in steady rhythm. Waking him now felt wrong. Instead, I carefully reached out and brushed my fingers against the edge of his shirt. Normally, he hated wearing one to bed, but I had scolded him earlier about the cold. He'd rolled his eyes and put one on, muttering about catching a chill. For what felt like hours, I stayed there, my hand resting lightly against him, caught between wanting to be closer and not daring to wake him. Then, with a soft sound, Nico shifted, turning over to face me. Before I could react, his arm draped around me, pulling me against his chest. My startled noise was muffled against the fabric of his shirt. His lips brushed the top of my head as he let out a sleepy sigh. How long have you been awake? He mumbled, his voice thick with sleep. I chuckled, quietly embarrassed. Not that long. Nico huffed a quiet laugh, clearly unconvinced. His hand traced slow, comforting lines up and down my back. Still thinking about it? He asked gently. It's hard not to, I admitted, my voice cracking slightly. Jamie's voice echoed in my head. Wes isn't like Dad. Those words had lodged themselves in my mind ever since. Not like Dad? The realization hit me again, what she had meant by that. Dad hadn't just left Mom for someone else. He had left her for another man. Was he like me all along? Or was I like him? The memory of Mom's face from earlier pierced through my thoughts, pale, shaking, her eyes filled with a mix of disbelief and fear. She hadn't said a word, only backed away, tears glistening as she turned and ran upstairs, leaving her groceries scattered on the floor. It felt like she was looking straight through me. Like she wasn't seeing me at all, just a reflection of Dad. Jamie had tried to comfort me afterward, pressing her hands to my face, whispering reassurances I could barely hear. It'll be fine, Wes. She just needs time. I'll talk to her, okay? But her voice had sounded uncertain, even to herself. When she told me it might be best to leave the house for a while, I'd only nodded. The words felt like another cut, deep and quiet. Now, lying here beside Nico, the memory still stung. If it's hard to stop thinking about it, Nico murmured, then maybe you need a distraction. His teasing tone made me laugh softly. I swatted at his chest. You're impossible. Not in the mood to joke? He asked, a sleepy smile curving his lips. Nico, it's 3 a.m, I said, raising a brow. Yeah, unfortunately, he muttered with a yawn. Silence settled again, a warm, peaceful kind of quiet. I watched as his eyes fluttered shut, then open again, fighting sleep. Nico, just go to sleep, I whispered, covering his eyes with my hand. He smiled, pulling my hand down and lacing our fingers together. Can't sleep when you're lying here awake, he murmured. If you're staying up, I'm staying up too. His eyelids drooped again almost instantly, and I couldn't help but smile. You're ridiculous, I said softly. I said talk to me, not insult me, he grumbled, half awake. I laughed quietly. Fine. What do you want to talk about? He paused for a moment, eyes now fully open. What do you want to do in the future? The question caught me off guard. The future? Yeah, he said. You're smart. You could get into any university you want. But I've never heard you talk about what you actually want to do. I blinked, thinking, I don't really know yet. Maybe something science-related, I guess. Nico nodded thoughtfully. What about me? He asked after a pause. Want to know what I want to do? I smiled, shifting closer until my head rested against his chest. Yeah. What do you want? Cook, he said after a beat. Then more firmly, I want to be a chef. Open my own restaurant someday. I could almost see it, Nico in a bright kitchen, laughing as he worked, sunlight pouring through the windows of his own small, bustling restaurant. The image made me smile. That sounds perfect, I said sincerely. He grinned. Maybe I'll name a dish after you. Only if it's something good, I teased. It'll be the best thing on the menu, he replied easily. His hand traced gentle circles on my back, and for a moment, everything felt right. Then his tone softened. Wes, about school, are you sure you want to go back right now? I have to, I said firmly. You're right, I'm smart. I can't let them win by hiding. I'll go back, no matter what people say. Nico's arms tightened around me, his voice low. I'm proud of you, he whispered, worried but proud. Thank you, I murmured, resting my forehead against his. The two of us lay there, wrapped in each other's quiet warmth. For the first time since that awful moment with Mom, I felt like I could breathe again. Nico smiled faintly, brushing my hair back. Get some sleep, Wes. Tomorrow's another day. And as his breathing slowed beside me, I finally let the world fade away, holding on to the one truth that still grounded me. I wasn't my father. And I wasn't alone. Chapter 47. Good morning, Belle chirped, stopping me mid-step. The elderly woman glanced up from the stove where she was flipping pancakes, her eyes crinkling with warmth as she smiled. Belle hadn't been home the night before, apparently out on a date with someone from her lawn bowls club, according to Nico, so seeing her this morning was both surprising and mildly panic-inducing. Come now, don't be shy, honey. Take a seat. The pancakes will be ready soon, she said with a cheerful chuckle. Okay, I replied quickly, sliding into a seat at the kitchen counter. Only then did I glance down at my clothes, Nico's oversized hoodie and sweatpants. My cheeks warmed instantly. Without my own clothes, I had borrowed his, and the fit made it very obvious. I fidgeted with the hem of the hoodie, unsure what to do with my hands. Thank you for letting me stay here all the time, I mumbled, my voice a little too shaky. Belle turned, smiling brightly. Oh, no thanks needed. Nicholas always seems happier when you're around. I'm glad you keep him company. Her grin turned mischievous. Hopefully my Nicholas makes you happy too? He does. I blurted out too quickly. Belle laughed at my flustered tone, clearly amused. Good. But I can't believe he's still in his room sleeping while you're already awake, she said, shaking her head. He should be the one making breakfast for you. I smiled, remembering the first time she had scolded him for the same thing. It was one of the first times I realized how kind-hearted she was beneath her teasing nature. It's all right, I said softly. He needs his rest. Belle shot me a sly look over her shoulder. Oh, was he busy with something last night? I nearly choked on air. We were just talking. About, important things, I said awkwardly, forcing a laugh. Belle's shoulders shook with barely contained amusement. She hummed, clearly unconvinced. Once the pancakes were done, she slid a plate toward me, neatly arranged with sliced fruit and a bottle of syrup. Her tone shifted slightly, her voice softer. Wesley, she began gently, I don't mean to pry, but Nico told me a little about what you're going through. My throat went dry. Oh. She reached across the counter, resting her warm hand over mine. He can probably relate to you more than you think. His parents? He told me, I said quietly. Belle blinked, visibly surprised. He did. I nodded, and she seemed to pause, studying my face with a look that was half wonder, half emotion. After a moment, she clasped my hand with both of hers. Her eyes softened. He must really trust you then, she said with a smile. I'm glad. Sorry? I asked, unsure what she meant. Belle chuckled lightly. That boy. Nicholas has never liked talking about himself, especially not about his parents. It's always been a painful topic. But if he opened up to you, that says a lot. Her voice was filled with affection, not just for her grandson, but for the bond she could see between us. He's always looked tough on the outside, she continued. But I've known him all his life. Deep down, he's gentle, caring, and a little closed off. You've managed to reach him in a way no one else has. I couldn't find words to respond. My heart felt full, like her words had reached straight into it. He's never brought anyone home before, Belle added, her eyes twinkling. So, you can imagine how happy he was when he invited you. Before I could answer, a familiar voice broke through the moment. You're not gossiping about me, are you? I turned to see Nico standing at the doorway, hair tousled from sleep, wearing loose track pants and looking far too casual for someone being scolded. Belle rolled her eyes and swatted his arm lightly. Nicholas, it's rude to sleep in when you have a guest. Go pour him some juice to have with breakfast. Don't I get pancakes? Nico grumbled. If you had woken up earlier, you would have, Belle said, wiping her hands. She turned to me with a kind smile. Enjoy your breakfast, Wesley. I have to head out for a bit, but Nico will look after you. Then, to her grandson, she added in a warning tone, Won't you, Nicholas? Yes, ma'am, Nico muttered, grabbing a fork, my fork, and stealing a bite of my pancake before grinning at me. Hey! I protested, laughing. Belle sighed dramatically. Don't dear me, mister. As she left, I shook my head in amusement, watching Nico and Belle's playful exchange. Their closeness always warmed me. Once she was gone, Nico slid beside me. He cut a forkful of pancake and pressed it toward my lips. Did you want to leave by a certain time, babe? He asked casually. I sighed, chewing slowly. Do I have to? The thought of going home, of facing mom again after everything that happened, made my stomach twist. Nico noticed immediately, gently offering me another bite. It'll be okay, he said softly. Whatever happens, I'll be here. I promise. I nodded, the weight in my chest easing just a little. Thanks, Nico. He smiled, brushing his thumb over my knuckles. Always. I couldn't help but laugh when he added, Now go get ready, and maybe don't wear my hoodie this time. Really, Nico? I said, shaking my head with a grin. Hey, I like seeing you in it, he teased. Just, maybe not in front of Grandma. Later that morning, I found myself standing at my front door, wearing the same clothes from the day before, except for the jumper Nico had lent me. The scent of his shampoo still lingered faintly in my hair. Jamie had texted, saying she'd spoken to Mom but didn't say much else. Whether things had gotten better or worse, I wasn't sure. Every step up the porch felt heavier than the last. The closer I got, the louder my heartbeat became. Before I could turn the key, the door opened, revealing Jamie. Hey, little bro, she greeted softly, offering a small smile as she ruffled my hair. I swallowed hard. Mom? In the kitchen, she said, nodding toward the archway. Is she? I hesitated, afraid to finish the question. Jamie sighed and gave my shoulder a reassuring squeeze. She's willing to listen. She's not happy, but she's ready to hear you out. That small reassurance gave me strength. She loves you, Wes, Jamie added quietly. She's just struggling to separate her feelings about Dad from everything happening now. Just be honest with her, okay? I'll try, I whispered, straightening my back. Jamie smiled faintly. I'll be upstairs if you need me. As her footsteps faded, the house fell silent. The scent of cleaning products lingered faintly in the air, and light filtered through half-open blinds. Everything looked tidier, lighter. But inside me, everything still felt heavy. Taking a deep breath, I stepped toward the kitchen. "It's okay, Wes," I whispered to myself. "You can do this." "Breathe," I told myself, tugging the sleeves of Nico's jumper over my hands. I pressed my fists against my face and inhaled deeply. His scent lingered faintly in the fabric, steadying my heartbeat and washing a calmness over me. "Yes, it'll be okay." Rounding the corner, I spotted Mum's hunched back by the window. Her shoulders drooped with exhaustion, and her hair was tied up loosely at the nape of her neck. Wrapped in a thick sweater, she sat holding a cup of tea that had long gone cold. Steam no longer rose from it. It simply rested in her hands as she stared into the fading light outside. When she sensed me behind her, her back stiffened. The mug clattered onto the table, spilling a little tea over her fingers. She didn't flinch, just shook off the droplets, letting them fall onto the wooden surface. She didn't say a word as I quietly took the chair across from her, not too close, not too far. The ticking clock above the fridge filled the silence, marking every second that passed between us. Sunlight slipped behind a cloud, dimming the kitchen. Mum's fingers tapped lightly against her mug, producing a soft, hollow sound. Her eyes, though open, seemed distant, fixed on the drops of tea she'd spilled, avoiding mine completely. "Mum," I murmured, my voice startling her. She flinched slightly, then began fidgeting with the string of her teabag. Her lips tightened, her expression strained. "Mum," I said again, my fingers picking at a splinter of wood on the table's edge. The clock ticked on, the air thick and still. Then she spoke, her voice trembling. Are you gay?" The words hung in the air, heavy and fragile. Her tone was calm, but I could see the storm behind her eyes. The teabag string trembled between her fingers. I swallowed hard, unable to form a full sentence. I simply nodded. She blinked. "When did you find out?" Her voice cracked near the end. "Earlier this year," I admitted, my heart aching. "I only really accepted it when we went to Sorrento." A small sob escaped her lips. She covered her mouth, her shoulders trembling. The sound of her quiet crying filled the room, and before I could stop myself, tears welled up in my own eyes. They fell silently onto the table between us. "Was it because of that boy?" she asked, her voice unsteady. "The one Jamie kept mentioning, Wesley? Did he make you this way?" "No," I blurted, my voice louder than I meant. The sound startled both of us. I gripped the hem of Nico's jumper tightly and lowered my tone. No one made me like this. Please don't blame him, it's not his fault. It's not anyone's fault. I think I've always been this way. I just didn't want to admit it before." Her voice hardened. "Then what about your father? It must have been because of him. You were always close to him. He must have." "Mom, don't blame him either," I interrupted, wiping my tears with my sleeve. She finally looked up at me then. Her eyes were red, her face pale, her exhaustion visible in every line. "I'm sorry, Mum," I said, my voice breaking. "I know you're upset. I didn't choose this. I've been pretending for so long, lying to everyone, including myself. But I can't do it anymore. You can blame Dad for other things, but not for me. This is who I am. And I can't change it." "But I have to blame someone," Mum cried, burying her face in her hands. "It's the only way I can stop myself from blaming me." My breath caught. "Blame yourself?" I whispered. "Why would you do that?" She lifted her head, her voice sharp with pain. "How can I not? I didn't see what was happening, not with your father, and not with you. I wasn't enough for him, and now I feel like I've failed both of you. You and Jamie grew up without a father, and I didn't even notice how much it hurt you. I didn't see the bullying, the loneliness, nothing. I was too busy trying to keep myself together. How can I not blame myself?" Her words cut deep, silencing my tears. Her chest rose and fell unevenly as she pressed a trembling hand over her heart. "Mum," I whispered. She shook her head, a bitter laugh escaping her lips. "I didn't tell you the full truth about your father. I wanted to protect you, but also myself. You two were so close, I thought you'd side with him. I thought you'd see how I wasn't good enough and hate me for it. And now that you're Like him, in a way, I feel like you've only grown further away from me. She looked at me with tear-filled eyes. You changed so suddenly, Wes. You stopped talking to me, stopped sharing things. I thought you didn't need me anymore. I was scared you'd leave me too. She wiped at her face, her voice small. You were figuring everything out on your own, and I didn't know how to help. As the words sank in, sunlight slowly peeked through the clouds again, filling the kitchen with soft, golden light. For the first time in a long while, I saw things clearly. We had both been hurting, trapped in our own fears. I'd shut her out to protect myself. She'd held onto denial to protect her heart. We were both afraid of losing each other. I rose from my seat, my legs tingling. Slowly, I stepped closer to her until I stood beside her chair. Then I wrapped my arms around her shoulders. A sob escaped her as she leaned into me, burying her face against my chest. Her arms circled my waist, holding me tightly as if afraid I might disappear. "I'm sorry, honey," she whispered through her tears. "I'll try to do better. I never wanted you to feel like you couldn't talk to me. I love you, no matter what. I promise." "I know," I hiccuped, my voice thick with emotion. "Please don't cry, Mum." She laughed softly, wiping her eyes before brushing away my own tears with her thumb. "You've grown up so well, you know that?" she said warmly. "I'm so proud of you, my strong, not-so-little boy." When she saw more tears forming in my eyes, she chuckled, pinching my cheek gently. "Well, it may be still a little bit little." "Mom," I groaned, laughing through the tears. She smiled, squeezing my hand. "Now, come on. Let's make some fresh tea and have a proper talk. No more crying, at least I'll try my best. And I want to hear everything. Especially about that boy. Nico, was it? You promise you won't get upset?" I asked cautiously. "I promise, Wesley," she said firmly. "I'll do better." Satisfied, I nodded and turned on the kettle. Soon, with 2 steaming cups of tea between us, I told her everything about Nico, about us, about how he made me feel. Well, almost everything. Some things are better left untold. Thanks for listening to today's BL story. If it made your heart skip a beat, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Only here on BL Stories, where love knows no limits.